Hello, welcome to Two Hopes Garage. My name's Jace. Thank you very much for joining us. It's the Mercedes W126 today and part 3 of the transmission removal series. First of all, I'd like to apologise once again for the delay in getting this video out. Things have been absolutely hectic lately, and unfortunately this has been very much of a low priority. However, once again, it's very much on the radar and there's loads of content to come out with some work up and coming on this. Let's get, quickly before we get started, thank you very much to new subscribers, and also thanks very much to the old ones for bearing with us. So anyway, without any further waffle, let's get under the Mercedes and let's get a transmission further prepped for removal. Thank you. Cheers. I think next up we're going to work our way around the transmission, disconnecting everything. So I was going to take this cooler line off, but I think we'll leave that for a bit so it's not dripping on us. So working from the front to the back, first up we've got what looks like a vacuum line. So we'll pop this bezeler out. Right, maybe not. Yeah, there we go. Okay. It's popped off. I'll let you see that. It's popped off there. Here's our neutral safety switch here, just at the side of the transmission. We're just disconnecting the plug. Yeah, so this piece here just locks in onto here. So you push up in that locking ring, then you might need to give your plug a wee bit of a shuggle. Don't force it, it will come out. Says the man filming a plug. It's clearly not coming out. Some shuggling has taken place. A bit more shuggling. There we are. That is the neutral safety switch plug removed. I think I've actually broken a bit of plastic off of this ring here. I'm probably going to be replacing the safety switch anyway. I'm hoping it comes with one of these locking rings. The plug itself looks to be good. So that's our neutral safety switch plug disconnected. Grand. Right, now we've got the prop shaft and flex disc out of the way, and we've got the back end of the transmission nice and clear. We can access our speedo sensor here. I believe this is a 10mm bolt, so we'll get a 10mm socket on there. Untold riches in here tonight. We're motoring away with a 10mm socket. Who'd have thought we'd have had such a thing in the garage? Never quite get what this thing is about 10mm sockets. Bad trade practices. Get the watch on tonight as well. So there's a wee 10mm bolt, holds on the end of your speed sensor there. There we go. Beautiful. One speed sensor removed. And just so we know where things are, we'll pop that bolt straight back on again. Grand. We're going to come back a bit from the transmission. I'm not sure how well the camera is going to catch this, but we've got our transmission shift linkage. So just up here, where the screwdriver is the gear lever, or transmission lever, if you will. There's a bush here, and this wee spring clip. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to film this and do it, but essentially I'm going to pop this spring clip off and disconnect this linkage here. Massive failure with rubber gloves. What's gone down here is I've just got under this wee spring clip with a flat blade screwdriver, and popped it off of here. Now this should be, there we go. So if you got that, free to disconnect, and we're going to get this bushing replaced at some point. And there's a transmission input lever disconnected. So coming round to the back of the transmission, I've got this wee plug here, and it just pulls clean out. There we are. You'll just see, focus, 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 a wee pin in the back there. So that one's out. Let's move around again. Right, on this side we've got the exhaust manifold getting in the way. So we've got a transmission cooler line just up at the front corner. Moving back a bit, hopefully you guys should see this. There we are. There's the before, and the after should be along like magic shortly. Right, so if we have a look up there, the forward of the two cables or hoses, I believe goes up to the end of the Bowden line. The other one is a vacuum hose that goes on forever and seems to terminate up near the front passenger headlight. So I thought best to disconnect at this end rather than the other end. That one was pretty tight. I just sprayed a wee bit of WD-40 silicone in there and it popped out quite nicely. And we'll get that cleaned up afterwards in case there's any residue in there. So next thing down from there, there's the front of your transmission pan, and there's one of your transmission cooler lines. Now I believe that is a 19mm. And just behind there is the reason this transmission's coming out. We'll go into that at another point. Let's see if I can get on here. I've already had a crack at this and it's actually not too tight at all. So 19mm pipe spanner, there we go. Or I think if you're in America, that is a flare nut wrench. Over here, it's a pipe spanner. And just keep a note of where your crush washers are. Just be prepared in here for the inevitable mess. So yeah, it looks like we've got a crush washer under the bolt head. That's obviously a banjo bolt, so don't lose that. And I'd expect another crush washer to be on the side of that banjo fitting. There we go. What we might want to do, let's just take, is disconnect one or two of these just to give it a wee bit of flex in the system. Up here just by the exhaust downpipe, we've got a cheeky wee 5mm Allen bolt holding that transmission or clipping that transmission core line to the transmission. This one definitely wants to be disconnected. You can probably leave the other ones on the engine block in place, and that should just give us enough movement on the trans line. So we've got our transmission core line detached on the driver side, and we're just going to detach it now on the passenger side. 19mm again. Ugh. They're not actually too tight. And keep an eye on where your crush washers are. One under the bolt head and one under the banjo. So we'll disconnect that. Being careful not to lose your crush washer. There we go. And if we look forward on this one, oops, let's see. So I'm just going to point it down there. There we are. You can see, that looks like a big old, is that a big old earth lead? That looks to be a big old earth lead on there as well. We're going to need to disconnect that. So we've got the P-clip, C-clip, whatever you want to call it, on the transmission, I believe. Again, that should be a 5mm Allen bolt, so we're going to get that disconnected. So here's the thing. I've been eyeing this thing here with some degree of suspicion over the last wee while when I've been working on the Merc. Now, it is a brace that runs from these guides, what are we calling this? The guide control bar thingy mounting bushes from one side to the other. And the instructions that I've got to take the transmission out don't make any reference to removing this item. And I'm about to drain the torque converter and do the torque converter bolts. And I've been looking at this thing thinking, I don't see the transmission popping out without that thing being off. And you know what? I don't think it's going to. So I'm going to take the thing off. I'm a wee bit suspicious that once this comes off both ends, it's not going back on again because the chassis is going to flex ever so slightly, just enough that you can't get the thing off. But I think it needs to come out, so we're going to go for it. So I think these are 17s, so we'll rattle these out with the old impact gun. So here we're round the driver's side, and we'll rattle these ones off. I've left one loosely in the passenger side, and they're coming out okay. And reassuringly, they're on slots, so it looks for a wee bit of room to manoeuvre. Now I've marked that up as driver front because I'm the most easily confused guy around. If you look up the dictionary, there should be a picture of me under confused, but I got confused along the way and ended up under another word instead. So aye, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I do like this Chicago pneumatic CP7748 half-inch air impact wrench. It's possibly the favourite tool in the garage that I'm not sponsored for, but Chicago Pneumatic, if you want to sponsor me, I'll be a great guy for you because everything you do is magic. Anyway, never mind that. Let's get this weeked out and enough of the chatter. Hey, there we go. And last but by no means least, and expect this to drop ever so slightly. There we go. So when it comes to accessing your torque converter drain plug, unless you're super lucky, it is not going to be sitting at the access point. And you're going to want to get your engine turned round a bit to get that torque converter drain plug round to you. So get yourself up to the front of the engine here. As you can see, my fan shroud's loose. Let's try and film this and show you. So the fan shroud's just knocking around there. So as long as it's out the way of the belt, up in there you can just see the that big bolt in the centre. That's a 27mm. So you're going to want to turn that nut clockwise with a 27mm socket on a ratchet to rotate your torque converter round. Make sure you turn the engine clockwise or else things may get messed up. If I move the engine clockwise, you see it's relatively easy. One thing that I noticed when I was doing this, let's just move the fan blade. See the spacing on the fan blade just there? That one let me get my socket in there no problem. and I had issues. And I thought, what's the issues? They're unevenly spaced. Just pick your space that you're putting the thing into. Right, now that we've turned the torque converter, turned the engine, and thus turning the torque converter round, we've got our drain plug exposed there. I overshot the mark slightly, so it's not quite central, but it's near enough and stuff's going to come out. As you can see, by my nice orange Allen key, this is a 5mm Allen plug. So, let's see how tight it is. Make sure your Allen key is nicely inserted so as not to round your fitting off. I have just made it without hitting the structure. So, oh, that's looser than expected. So I'm going to get out a shot for the rest of taking this off, as obviously gravity is going to play its part in covering me with transmission fluid unless I move. Remember and have a drain pan underneath it. For the moment, I'm just going to let that drip away happily to itself. Remembering to get a new seal for your plug. What I'll do once this stops dripping away, I'll chuck the plug back in there for the moment, just to keep it. And we'll get some new seals ordered up in the meantime. Next up, once this is stopped dripping, we'll get the bolts out of the flex plate. Right, so next, we're going to take the torque converter flex disc bolts out. So we're up at the front of the vehicle. There's a steering damper that will be getting replaced. And as we go back, there is an access port. The earlier W126s have a metal plate over them. This W126, the later ones have, I don't know if it's like plastic or rubber. There's the part number. It has seen better days. Oh my days. So yeah. Anyway, that's handy. So there we go. We've got on the flex disc, we have, or we should have, I believe, 3 lots of 2 bolts, grouped in 2s. There's 13 mils, and we need to tweak them out. So, yeah, we'll get a 13mm on that. And we'll see how we go. I've got a wee double depth socket on a, oh, that's quite okay. I did wonder about this. So I've got a double depth socket on a 3/8 drive ratchet. It's quite tight. I don't know if you noticed, but I actually turned the flywheel or the flex disc. Maybe not. Marvellous. Get it out without dropping anything, excuse me. So, hopefully, this is our last bolt coming into view. Oh dear. Smashing. Excuse the camera work. So, last one to get the windy ratchet on. Access is a wee bit tight with that steering damper there, but it's okay. That's the noise that gets made when your hand's over the exhaust port of the windy ratchet. And last, but by no means least, oh, don't drop it, don't drop it. There we are. I think we're all disconnected. I think 6 bolts out. There's meant to be 6 bolts in there. So that's us. We need to get the dipstick tube removed. There is a 5mm Allen bolt that holds the bottom of the dipstick onto the transmission case. There's the pipe for there's the oil pipe for the transmission. I've attached these two spring clips just to let me get an Allen key, a slightly more easy access in there. You can also see the reason why this car's been dead. There's the corner broken off the transmission housing there. The Allen bolt was as tight as anything, absolutely welded in, I suspect because it is next to the exhaust downpipes. So I'll come back out a wee bit. There is the rig up that I had to use to get that to loosen. A jacking handle on the end of, let me see if I can get it, on the end of a fairly long Weira 5mm Allen key. So yeah, it's finger tight now. I'm going to wheek that out and we'll get a dipstick tube out. Right, apologies there. I went up top, took the dipstick out and had a wee tug on the dipstick tube and it came clean out off camera. It's pretty easy once you get that 5mm Allen bolt out. It looks like we've left a washer behind. I've got a cheeky little O-ring seal. Let's leave that in place for the moment, actually. That's what we'll do there. Yeah, we'll leave that O-ring in place and I think we'll pop our 5mm Allen bolt back in again so we can find it. There we go, that's the location for our 5mm Allen bolt. I'm just going to pop that back in again. Like so we don't lose it. So that was the Mercedes. I was actually hoping to get the transmission disconnected from the engine today and get it lowered. However, I ran into a daft issue, and that was a lack of 1/2-inch drive extensions to get over the top of the bell housing and take those top ones out. So, next time around, we'll have some more 1/2-inch drive extensions, and we'll get that transmission lowered at last. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, give the like button a wee podge. It's entertaining. There's wee flashes and fireworks and stuff come off it. It's brilliant. Also, if you'd consider subscribing, you'd make me a happy man. So we're just a small channel at the moment, but we're growing slowly. Thanks to everyone for joining us, and until the next time, cheers, goodbye.